Hey guys, today is the 13th of July, and that means that F1 2021 is finally here. Let's not waste any more time and get right into gameplay.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
And there we have it, F1 2021. Let's get right into it. Okay, so we're gonna go straight for a Grand Prix quick race here in the F1 2021 cars. Now, if we look at these tracks that we have here, the game does launch with 21 tracks, and we do actually get China as well, despite it being actually dropped from the calendar. And that is because China or the Shanghai track actually plays a part in the Breaking Point story. So keep a lookout for that. And as post launch content, they will be adding Imola, Portimao, and Jeddah. Not entirely sure when, but they will be coming soon. So once we've got all the tracks loaded in, we will have a total of 24 tracks. So today we're going to be racing at Britain, and now let's look at the cars. So we've got the Mercedes, the Red Bull. You can see the high rig on the Red Bull, the McLaren, this amazing British Racing Green on the Aston Martin, the Alpine with the new livery, the Ferrari with their two-tone colors, the new Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo, the new Haas with its livery, and Williams with the new livery as well. So for today's race, we are going to be going with the Aston Martin, and we're going to be playing as Sebastian Vettel. The whole UI looks a lot more crisp in 2021 compared to 2020. We're just going to go through the settings here for the race. Proficiency set to elite. Now coming on to rules and flags, we can see that we're going to just leave it as it is. Going on to simulation settings, now here is where it turns a little bit different. If you look at car damage here on that we are going to get to in a little while, you will see that we actually have a multitude of options now. We have reduced, off, standard, and simulation, but what we can change is the rate. We didn't used to be able to do this, so this is going to make it really fun here. So we are going to be setting it to simulation for today's race. We're going to set low fuel mode over to hard, I believe. Yes, that's because it's more realistic. We just want to make it as realistic as we can. And we're going to leave everything else as it is. So we are going to be setting the qualifying to random, so there's no qualifying. The start will be random. So we're not entirely sure where we will actually start. Now this setting is a little bit different than 2020. In 2020 you could set a 5 lap and then you could go 25, 50 that way, but in 2021 it's different. They use a long, full, and short and medium setting here to actually change what length you want the race to be. And for weather and time of day, we're gonna go with a sunny race for today. And you can actually change the forecast accuracy here in this game, so that is also something new in F1 2021. So now here, when we go back to rules and flags, we can see that we can actually now turn the safety car over from standard into increased. Now that actually increases the possibilities of safety cars coming out, and that makes it more realistic, because we do know that in F1 2020 it was relatively rare to actually see the safety car come out unless if it were really heavy impacts. So let's hope that this change actually makes the game a lot more fun to play and engaging. So let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. The grandstands are packed, the cars have made
The
their way
updated
to the
UI
grid,
looks
and
so
we're
much more
minutes
crisp.
away from lights out. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and Copse.
Silverstone isn't my best track. I do struggle a little bit, but seeing as the 2021 cars have less downforce, it's going to be interesting to see how they actually handle around here. Because Silverstone is a high-speed circuit with really fast corners, so this is going to be fun to see.
Lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the
And
lead into the first corner?
even
with
car
so
setups
many
in
quick starters
2021
around them?
are,
And let's see who's able to keep
from
their
what I've
tyres
heard,
in that
vastly
temperature
different
sweet spot
from
early
F1
on.
2020.
You've got a great tyre warmer
So
underneath
I
your
have
right
done
foot,
a
and the drivers need to
5-lap
make the most
race
of that on the formation
on this
lap,
game
lest they
just
see
now
themselves skating
to
wide at
set
turn
my
1 on cold rubber.
camera settings and all my
With the
button
race
mapping
minutes
and
away
everything.
from starting, here's
So
what
I did
today's
drive a
grid
few
rundown
laps,
looks
and
like.
yeah, it does
Valtteri
feel
Bottas lines up on
quite
pole
different
position, edging
as what
out
we're
Sergio
going to
Perez,
see
who
in
lines up
the race
P2.
here.
As we continue through the rest of the grid today,
Now,
we
going
have
through the starting grid,
Hamilton,
the
Verstappen,
graphics are a lot better,
Lance Stroll, and Leclerc.
but I never really understood those
Norris,
poses where they
Fernando
just have
Alonso,
their hands covered
Ricciardo
on the front.
and Pierre Gasly.
But Ricardo's
Vettel,
crossed arms, that look really good.
Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, and
Overall,
Sainz,
just the UI
Russell, Mick
in
Schumacher,
2021 looks a lot more crisp,
Nicholas
clear,
Latifi,
and engaging.
and Antonio Giovinazzi. Mazepin and Kimi Raikkonen finishes off the grid.
Alright,
That's it then. It's time
let's
to go
get to the
racing
race.
as we head to trackside for today's race.
So here, as I was saying with the setup, based on videos that I have seen on YouTube up till now, I am just eyeballing this setup. I have no idea how it's going to work. I have not tried this setup before, but we're just going to give it a shot and see if we can actually work with this. So for the suspension geometry, we're not really going very different from 2020, but when it comes to suspension, you can see that we're going to be setting it a little bit different than 2020. The ride height not being as low as before. And coming on to brakes, from what I've heard is that if you set your brake bias way far rearwards, you actually get a lot of rear brake locking. And with tire pressures, you can't really run low tire pressures as you used to be able to. Now, this is where we're going to actually test this setup and see if it actually works for us. And we've got the lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're off. Getting an okay start. Nah, actually that was a pretty bad start. And already I could feel here just the lack of downforce in the rear. It was not making it easy as we get squeezed. And you can see a little bit of contact and you already see a yellow flag there, proving that this game is a lot more interactive and effective with yellow flags, safety cars, and even probably VSCs. I've seen videos online where VSCs just convert into safety cars, and that is going to make this game a lot more fun to play, no doubt. Currently we are in 13th place, and all throughout this first few corners I could just feel the car was not turning in to where I wanted to go. I lacked that front end grip that I used to have on F1 2020, and through that corner just there, in the 2020 car you could just take it flat out with no worry whatsoever, and in 2021 you could see that I just understeered. So now I'm not too sure if that is due to me not having a proper setup for the race, or if it is actually purely down to the fact that the car has a lot less downforce. This is something that is going to take a little while for me to experiment with and try, but we are definitely going to see. Now today we are running AI at 100. This is usually what I play with at F1 2020. Now I'm starting at about 102% in 2020, but you can see with the 100% AI in F1 2021, they are just zooming away from me. I cannot keep up with them. Now, I can't put all the blame on the car setup being off, because this is probably like 90-95% just my lack of pace on my own. So the 2021 game is already appearing to be very, very different than 2020 to play with. So it takes a little while for me to actually get used to this new handling. But, alright, coming to the handling. these 2021 cars do have less downforce. That is true. But the game actually has an updated driving physics, which actually makes these cars much more engaging to drive, in my opinion. They feel more realistic in a way. It's something that you're going to have to experience when you play the game. But it makes the cars a lot more fun to drive as science comes along as to our side. But we do manage to hold the position. Still currently running in 13th place, but we can see Ocon has just sped to 2.6 seconds ahead. So yeah, we really do not have pace here today. But yes, coming back to how the car handles. When you want to turn into corners, you can't carry as much speed as you used to be able to in F1 2020. Now, the front end just does not point in the direction I wanted to. Now that could be set up. I'm not too sure, but you definitely can't take corners as fast as you used to be able to. As we are defending as hard as we can to try and not let Sainz go by. This was really hard for me, guys. Like, I was honestly just wondering where my pace was because I felt really slow. But you know what? Let's talk about this Aston Martin for a minute. That green looks so beautiful here. I really love the color. Wish to be able to see it in person one day, you know? That'd be really nice. We had Goodwood over the weekend and yeah, saw pictures of this there and it just looked beautiful, man. Crisp, clean, and that green is just amazing. Coming through Maggots and Beckett's right now. See, you can just see us losing so much of time compared to the AI in the fast corners. Now based on what I've watched on the videos, apparently in this game, there is more emphasis on you braking in a straight line, and I'm going to be honest here, I am not that good in braking in a straight line. I do have the tendency to brake into the corners while I turn the wheel, so that could be contributing to a big part as to why I'm losing a lot of time in the fast corners, probably braking too late. So yeah, this is going to take a while for me to actually get used to. But yeah, let's see how steep the learning curve is going to be. Currently on lap 4, running in 13th position. Now the lap counter and the position counter has switched around from the 2020 game. And yeah, I still do get confused sometimes because of that. Because I'm so used to seeing all the names on the left hand side, then I would assume that, oh, the position should be on top of that, but it's kind of switched around now, so that is going to take a little bit of getting used to. As you can see right there, when you try to just push the car through the corner, you understeer and lose so much time. So probably the best approach over there would be to back off a little bit, as I believe we make slight contact with Sainz there as he came out the inside. So probably not the best move on my part. Should have given him more space. Sorry, man. The Sainz comes along as we try to hold our position and going around the outside, which quickly becomes the inside of the next corner, and we maintain 13th. Now, based off the pace on the guys in front, I know that I'm holding Sainz back so much. But yeah, maybe Dirty Air has a similar effect as it did on the previous game. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we will experiment with it, and over time we'll be able to know how it really is. Now, one thing to talk about 2021, as you can see on the bottom right, we cannot change the fuel mix anymore as we used to be able to in 2020. As Sainz makes a move past us and we go alongside him, we tap wheels and Sainz is ahead. So yeah, let's see if we can actually stick with him. Alright, coming back to the MFD in the bottom right, about the fuel mix. So yeah, in F1 2020, you cannot change the fuel mix. It is set to standard. And that is something that is different from 2020, because in 2020, you could always rely on either your ERS or your fuel mix to actually get a little bit of extra power through the lap. But in 2021, there is going to be a very big emphasis on how well you can how well you can save your ERS, because I don't think you can really run out of fuel much in the game now. Probably it's not as easy to run out of fuel in the game in 2021 because you can't set it to rich mix. So I believe that when safety cars are out, you do get the ability to switch it down to lean, but that's it. So theoretically, if you are running, say, a 50% race and above, you could maybe underfuel a little bit in hopes that there will be a safety car. Then you could just push it down to lean, save a little bit of fuel, and make it work. But if you do underfuel and there is no safety car, you're going to have to introduce quite a bit of fuel saving measures. Just backing out of corners a little bit earlier. And yeah, I just noticed that there was a slight jump in the video. Apologies for that. I use the PS4 screen capture to capture my gameplay, and sometimes the video file just gets a little bit choppy in between. No matter, we're going to continue. Coming to Maggots and Beckett's here, as you can see, we just lose like 2 to 3 tenths. I think 5 tenths there to Sainz. But what you're going to see here is that in this straight, we have our DRS open and our ERS, but look at how fast we are getting close to Sainz. The slipstream effect here on this game is so much stronger than it was before. And that may make the game a little bit more fun, because honestly, in 2020, if you had your DRS and your ERS on and you were pushing the guy in front, the slipstream effect was not that big, to be honest. Like, you would have to be between 5 to 6 tenths, only then you would start to feel it a little bit. But in this game, you actually feel it from quite far back, which is a good thing. It's going to make the game a lot more fun to play, as we do manage to get DRS, so good for us, just being able to stick to Sainz. So 7 laps in, about halfway through the race, and we have not made much progress, to be honest. So yeah, despite me running for about 7 laps now, I just can't really get the grips of the car so much yet. Maybe it is a steeper learning curve than I initially imagined, you know. But yeah, we're just going to keep trying. As you see here again, 1.2 seconds behind Sainz, but by the end of the straight, just look at how much time we would have gained. Right there, we're looking at about 5 tenths, despite us being all the way back. So yeah, the slipstream effect in this game definitely a lot stronger than before. As our planned pit window opens. Now, I know that Sainz definitely has a lot more pace than me, so at this point I was just gonna pit in whenever Sainz pits, because if I pit 1 lap after him and try the overcut with my pace, I probably would not be able to get ahead of him. So yeah, that was the plan. So as you can see, we are still setting green sectors, so I am coming to terms with how the car handles bit by bit, but it's not enough for me to actually be competitive yet. But yeah, that's the fun in the game, isn't it? Trying to get to grips with the new physics handling as we lose the back end there slightly as we go out. So yeah, that is one more thing. If you actually drive off the tarmac here, you do lose the rear end a little bit more than you did before, which is quite fun and quite realistic, to be honest. So that's one edge that's going to be really fun in this game. As Sainz darts into the pits, and we're going to follow him. But just watch this. And I totally misjudged the braking point, and we just get into the back of Sainz, damaging the front left of our wing and getting a 5-second penalty. So overall, not a great pit entry. But as you can see, look at the graphics here getting into the pits. It's no more as sharp as it used to be in 2020, making it a lot more realistic. So that's a good thing. Overall, just making the game a lot more engaging, a lot more fun to play. So as we exit the pits, Science is going to be well far away ahead because we had to change our front wing, and we've got Raikkonen right behind us. So looks like for the rest of the race, it is just going to be us trying to hold back Raikkonen. So we do have a 5-second penalty, so we're not going to give up that easily. We're gonna keep pushing. Now, if you notice there, as I was trying to put the power down, I was just losing the rear end like 2 or 3 times there. So in 2020, when you exit the pits, you could actually put the power down a lot more faster than you can in 2021. 2021, you actually need to wait for your tires to build up some temperature to get the grips. Only then you're going to be able to put the power down quickly. As Raikkonen gets past us, coming to Maggots and Beckett's here. We just lose so much time through there. But we do get DRS, and you can see the power of the slipstream here. Just enormous as we try and go through the inside of the corner, getting wheel to wheel with Raikkonen there. Can we go down the inside? And yes, braking just in time. But Raikkonen comes alongside us, and we sort of close the door on him a little bit. But yeah, so you can already see the AI being a lot more aggressive, a lot more punchy in the 2021 game, making it a lot more fun to play. This is definitely going to be a game that I'm going to enjoy. Now we can see that Latifi is about 3.1 seconds ahead as the video just jumps again. Really got to get that fixed. Now, as I was saying, Latifi was 3.1 seconds ahead of us, and the gap has now got down to about 2.8, 2.7. So I'm not too sure if this is the extra power that the Aston Martin has over the Williams, or if this is actually my driving getting a little bit better. But either way, we're looking at the timing to Latifi going down bit by bit. So the objective here would be to actually see if we can close down the 3-second gap to Latifi, maybe grab that 15th place, as we totally understand go wide there. In 2020, you can take that corner almost flat out. So, not flat out, but you could get on the throttle a lot earlier than you can in this game. You actually have to let it off a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, coming back to our objective now, we are going to try and close the gap to Latifi. Now, these set of corners are one of my weakest points in this track. I always lose time there, even in 2020. Not a great set of corners for me. Currently we are on lap 11, running in 16th position from 11th, I believe, so we are down about 5 positions. And we've still got a 5-second penalty. So yeah, if this was real life, probably not a good race for Vettel. As we can see, Lewis Hamilton is setting lap times in the 1:27.9s, which is slower than 2020, because we know that the 2021 cars have less downforce, and that actually results in, I believe, an average of about 1.2 or 1.5 seconds slower lap times. So yeah, we can actually see that being translated into the game, which is interesting. In addition to making these cars a little bit more challenging to drive, it is more realistic. So that's fun. But look at the gap to Latifi, down to 2 seconds with 2 laps remaining, including this lap. So yeah, if we can close in 1 second a lap, maybe we can get past him. I don't really know the reason as to why we have much superior pace, but yeah, this actually just motivates you to try and push harder and harder to get past the guys in front. So yeah, as the laps go by, I'm getting more and more comfortable with the car, realizing that I can brake later, where I can turn in, what are the points where I can put down the throttle as we understeer again there. So obviously I'm not learning fast enough. Coming through Max and Beckett's as we just lose the back end there. That's what I was talking about. Less rear downforce here in this game as with the 2021 cars, and if you just, at that moment I just flicked the steering wheel way too quick and the back end just said nope, I am not doing that, and we lost it. So yeah, probably not ideal for us in this race, but we're gonna try and push as hard as we can. As we cross the finish line, we are about 9/10 away from Latifi, closing in little by little, and I do believe we crossed the DRS detection within 1 second of him. So yeah, looks like we are gonna get DRS in the next straight. Let's see if we can get him with that superior slipstream effect in this game. 6/10. Now I think we're a bit too far back, but no matter. As I go way too deep in the corner, lose the back end again over there. So yeah, obviously these cars are a lot tougher to drive, but the challenge is what actually makes it really fun. As Bottas sets a 126.9 compared to our 129.2, that's just crazy, man. Coming through Max and Beckett's, trying to put as much speed as we can, closing in a little bit on the TP, but losing a bit of time at the exit. But here we're just gonna dump all our ERS and the DRS here open. But just watch this. We go on the inside, and there. We get a bump from Latifi, and yeah. Last lap, about 2-3 corners left to go, and we were out. So yeah, we're gonna look at the replay of this crash because I couldn't really decide where or who was wrong in this case. I believe that I was partially in the wrong here. I feel like I may have moved over slightly to the right and just clipped his front tire. So we're going to look at the replay here from both perspectives and see who was wrong. Now if you see Latifi, he has the inside. Okay, before the corner he's on the outside, I'm on the inside. Coming into the corner, he goes on the inside, I go to the outside, but he just careers outside into me. So I'm not too sure if, I feel like the blame partially goes to the both of us because, alright, let's go to my view now, and I'm sticking to my line, and I don't think I moved right, but I'm not as far left as I could be. You know, the track still has about a car's width on my left hand side. So yeah, do comment down below, guys. Do you think it's Latifi's fault or my fault? I believe I do have some part of fault to play here. But ultimately, what we can know is that the AI do make more realistic mistakes in this game compared to 2020. You probably will not see the 2020 AI making that mistake at all. So yeah, overall, just doing 50% or 100% races in this game is going to be so much more fun. More realistic AI, more challenging AI, more realistic safety cars. As we come across the finish line, let's see where we end up with that 5-second penalty. As Raikkonen is the driver of the day. That graphic looks a lot more crisp in 2021 compared to 2020. Oh, and it does not show our final position. I can't recall.
Talk to me, Ants. What
I think
was
in
it that set
2020
them
it does
apart from
show
the
your final
competition
position
today?
as you cross the
Well,
finish
this was a
line.
real team victory. They put together a solid
can't really
strategy
recall.
today that
It's alright,
appeared well
no matter.
suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to
Mercedes
perfection.
team.
A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And the F1 theme song it's amazing, man.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
So Hamilton is second, Bottas is your race winner, Hamilton second, and Sergio Perez in third. Perez doing pretty well in the Red Bull this season, to be honest. Like, he's really come to grips with the car. He's not on Max's level though, but he is doing pretty good. Really good for the team.
After an incredible day of racing,
Alright guys,
who was
that
your
has
driver
been
of the
our
day, Ants?
first
Kimi Raikkonen
race
is my standout today.
on
Nothing you
F1
could construe as
2021.
showboating, just an incredibly consistent
Definitely
performance out
a
on
lot
track.
more fun than
Well,
2020.
Ants, an end to another fantastic
More engaging
weekend of
AI,
racing.
more
Thanks to
competitive
everyone who
AI,
joined us, and we'll see you for the
possibilities
next one.
of more frequent and better safety cars, virtual safety cars, overall just a well-rounded package compared to 2020. So guys, do give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Do comment down below what content from F1 2021 you would like to see. Do subscribe to the channel, it'll really help me out. And yeah, keep a lookout for uploads guys, because we are going to get the Breaking Point content out really soon for you guys to enjoy. Yeah, I hope you guys have liked this video today. First insight into F1 2021. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.